Hi, I'm going to go over what a Super Guillotine League is and the rules. And if you're a veteran, this will be a good opportunity to catch up on any changes that might have occurred. And if you're new, this will be a great opportunity to get the rules in a very quick way. All right, so I'll be using the Justice League rules as an example, but this applies to the Avengers and the Battle for the Animated Universe. The only thing that'll be different would be the entry fees and the prize monies. So for that specific information, just look at each individual league. But otherwise, the rules, the scoring, all the processes, it'll be the same for all the leagues. Rosters in the Guillotine Leagues are limited to no more than 15 active players at any time with a combined salary of $200. There's no requirement to have a full roster, though. You could have 9 starting lineup positions and spend the entire $200 for week 1, and that's entirely acceptable. However, it is strongly encouraged that every team have the starting lineup requirements met, because invalid starting lineups will be disqualified. So make sure you pay close attention to what the starting lineup requirements are. Your salary amounts are determined by the winning bid amount in the auction. So we're going to cover the auctions pretty close too. All right, the auction. Preseason auction will be scheduled to begin shortly after all teams have been paid for. This usually is about 24 to 48 hours after the last payment has been made, and the specific start date and time will be posted on salarycapcommissioner.com. Each team has a $200 salary cap, and you'll be limited to nominating 5 players at a time during the preseason auction. A maximum of 100 players at any time can be up for bid simultaneously. The auction uses a proxy style bidding, like eBay style, and automate the process of bid increasing. So for example, if you put a maximum bid of $20 in, then it'll start out at 1, and then anybody else can come along and increase the bid, and it'll remain your winning bid amount until it surpasses $20. So your players are awarded to a team when the winning bidder does not change for 24 hours. So if that $20 bid is good for 24 hours straight, congratulations, you get the player. If somebody comes along and bids 21 or more, then the winning bidder will have changed and the 24-hour timer gets reset. So it is possible to change the winning bid amount and the timer will not reset. But when that winning bidder actually changes, that's when the timer resets. So the final amount of the winning bid will be the player salary, and it'll count against the salary cap of $200. So an owner can also drop a player at any time and immediately recover that salary to place a bid on another player. And the number of drops that a team can engage during the preseason, so beginning from the time of the start of the auction until the first week of the NFL season, will be limited to 3 drops. It's designed to help teams with injuries, but it can be used for any reason. You could sit there and say your players are stupid or ugly and just drop them for no reason. So the auction will continue until the regular season, and it'll remain a 24-hour bid until the start of the regular season, at which time the winning bid amount timer will be dropped to 12 hours. And the maximum of nominating players will also be increased to accommodate or adjust as the teams are eliminated on a weekly basis. All right, so when the regular season starts, the fun keeps on going. Free agency auction is the same thing as the preseason auction, with the only difference being the timer is dropped to 12 hours instead of 24. The same rules apply. So this means if a winning bidder on a free agent is changed with less than 12 hours before a kickoff, their game's kickoff, then that player will not be eligible to start for that team or any team that week because they'll be locked because their game will have started by the time they arrive on anybody's roster. And to further complicate matters, the one who did reset the timer and eventually win that player will be stuck with that player until the end of the week because their game is locked. They can't be dropped. So you can't even get that money back to bid on another player that plays later in the week that could play for you. So be careful when you're resetting the maximum bid on players during the regular season. It is a good strategy, but it'll bite you really hard. And as far as trades are going, currently trades are allowed, but who trades in a guillotine league and why? Well, no, that may go away. All right, so here's where the super guillotine leagues start getting super, in my opinion, anyway. So you've got to start a lineup every week, even if the lineup hasn't changed from the previous week. It doesn't retain the lineups. They must be submitted every week. You may add or remove players from the starting lineup until their game of the week game starts that week. So, and that at that time they'll become locked. But prior to that, you can change up as many times as you want, and even drop them. Now, the number of spots for starting lineups will increase throughout the season. Every so often, one of the bench spots will turn into a starting position. We'll go over that exact process here shortly. This will continue until week 18, when the last two teams remaining will have 15 starters, no bench spots. So at the beginning of the season, starting lineups for all guillotine leagues will consist of 9 offensive spots and 6 bench spots. If you choose, you don't have to have those bench spots filled. But the minimum lineup requirements is 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and it is a tight end premium scoring system, so that is helpful. 1 super flex position, and for y'all who are comfortable with super flex or aware of what super flex is, you'll quickly understand with 19 teams, not everybody's going to get that second quarterback in week 1 or even week 2. And then you have 2 flex positions for a total of 9. Week 3, this is going to increase to 10 spots by adding another wide receiver. So you'll still have 1 quarterback, 2 running backs. Now you'll have 3 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 super flex, and 2 flex. So that'll give you 10 starters, and you'll only have 5 bench spots. Week 6, it'll increase to 11 and 4 bench spots. You'll still have 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 super flex, and this time you have 3 standard flex positions to fill. And it'll continue. Week 9, you'll have the same, everything will be the same, and 2 super flex positions. And at that time, you'll start seeing that the quality of the quarterbacks, there's only going to be a handful available. Even though you're reducing the number of teams that are bidding on quarterbacks, the number of quarterbacks is increasing, or needs for quarterback. So as you continue, week 15, you'll have 3 super flex and 4 flex. Then week 18, when there's only 2 teams remaining, it'll be 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 receivers, 1 tight end, 4 super flex. So you could have 5 quarterbacks versus 5 quarterbacks, and 4 flex positions. And since it is a tight end premium, who knows how many tight ends you could see. But it is starting lineup requirements will be reviewed every week, and any violations for invalid starting lineups, the owner will be notified as quickly as possible so changes can be made. If an owner does not respond or take care of the situation, the lineup will be disqualified for that week. Position designations. So there are plenty of players that can play multiple positions, and this can create a little confusion, especially with starting lineup requirements. If there is a player that needs to be considered to be changed over from one position to another, like from running back to receiver or vice versa, reach out to me. I will use NFL.com as a guide for the position, and most likely we have a few players that'll fit in either wide receiver or running back, so we'll take that into consideration. Scoring for guillotine leagues is pretty standard. It is a tight end premium. I mean, they will get a full point per reception, while the receivers and running backs will receive half a point per reception. Otherwise, the points are equivalent from all positions. You have 1/10 of a point for every rushing yard, 1/10 of a point for every receiving yard. We have 0.04 points for every passing yard, and that winds up being 25 yards is 1 point. And we have 4 points for every passing touchdown. So it's not a huge advantage for the quarterbacks, but they still are more productive point-wise. Otherwise, 6 points for touchdowns. All others, 1 point for each 2-point conversion, whether it's a pass or a reception. 2 points for a rushing 2-point conversion, and we have a negative point for every interception thrown and every fumble lost. Thanks for watching till the end. If you have more questions about the league, or if you want to discuss any of the rules in greater detail, possibly even offer some suggestions, please feel free to contact me through my website, salarycapcommissioner.com. If you're interested in joining one of my leagues, please register a free account at salarycapcommissioner.com, and I'll be glad to get you in one as quickly as possible. I hope you had a good time. Look forward to seeing you in one of my leagues. Thanks.